YouTube, what's going on? It's DFISH, and I'm bringing you guys a brand new video. First of all, if you haven't clicked the sub button down below or the bell, make sure you guys go do so that every time new content's uploaded, you guys are the first ones to know. All right, guys, so in this video, we're going to be going over my controller settings, my keybinds, and everything else I'm going to be using and why I think these are the most optimal settings for my current state in Fortnite. But guys, before I start this video, I just want to let you know that settings are completely how you feel, right? It's all going to be different and all based on, what you're used to. I grew up playing with super high sensitivities throughout all the video games I played, and it wasn't until I started playing really competitively that I understood that on controller sometimes it's better to have a lower sense. We'll get into that in the video, but I just want to preface that now. Use what you like, but all I'm going to be saying is in this video, it's what I'm using. So if you guys want to, kind of use some settings that I'm going to be using, feel free to watch the rest of the video or kind of just take a peek how it's going to go. All right, guys, so I'm going to break down my controller settings for you. So on the first page, we have my window mode. Obviously, I play in full screen. I don't play in windowed or anything like that. 1920 by 1080. VSync I have off. My frames right now, I only have a 165 hertz monitor. So I personally like to cap my frames at 165. I know a lot of people like to play it unlimited or put it higher. My personal thought is that when I put it a little higher, sometimes I feel hitches when it goes up in frames. Some people don't feel that. I do. Personal preference. I'm on performance mode because honestly, as good as this game runs, I feel like if it's not in performance mode, you're at a severe disadvantage. DirectX 11 and DirectX 12, the game looks great, and this game can honestly look unbelievable. Seriously, if you guys put this all the way up, go play this game in 4K, it'll look like a movie, but that's not why I'm playing. That's not why I'm here to do it. So performance mode all the way if you want the most optimal settings, the best response time. Brightness I have 100, contrast, blah, 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 blah. I played Tridano on Colorblind 6. I had it at 8. But in the new seasons, it's a little bit harder to see in Storm, but I still think this is the best colorblind. 3D resolution, I have it 96 instead of 100. That just helps a little bit of rendering lag. The guy that helped build my PC gave this idea, and it's proven. So 96% is pretty good for your 3D resolution. Again, guys, run whatever works for your computer. My view distance is far. Everything I have else is low. Textures are low. I have this auto download high resolution textures off. High resolution textures reminders off. We don't need any reminders. Meshes I play on high. So this is where the two different things. Some people play on low where it looks like they have mobile builds on. I don't do that. I personally didn't feel any different. And also my thing when you have low meshes is you can't see through the builds as well. It's just kind of like a color blotch for a wall instead of actually being able to see through it. And sometimes you can get nice peaks looking through, like a brick wall or a wood wall. So I like using high meshes. Again, personal preference, show FPS always on, obviously. All right, guys, so on the next page, I have my toggle sprint on. I have auto sprint on, so I don't have sprint bound, so I just have auto sprint on. I think that's the perfect way to do it. Personally, when would you not want to be sprinting? And you don't have to sprint. If you can go like this, you can walk slower. But all I'm doing right now is I'm pushing my stick forward, and now I'm sprinting, and now I'm not. Now I'm sprinting, and now I'm not. And the only thing I'm doing is moving my thumb. So I personally think that having auto sprint on is pretty key. Other than that, auto open doors I have on. I think I might be turning it off, but what's nice is if you're tunneling, say I'm tunneling like this, right? And all of a sudden I accidentally do this, I can just run through it and not have to press X. So that is the one nice thing. My mantle activation, I hold jump. I do not hold forward. So I found that when I was holding forward, I was mantling everything. And obviously you don't want to be doing that. So hold the jump is good for my movement. Hold the swap pickup on. Toggle targeting off. I have that off. Mark danger when targeting on. Blah, 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 blah. Auto pickup weapons I have on. Again, it's a preference thing. I liked winning off spawn fights and winning that drop when you're landing on a chest of someone else and you're 50-50 for it. I liked being able to, have a little extra edge. Me and D-Train used to land at the mushrooms right near Greasy last chapter, and I would always land on that top of that mushroom, and it was pretty hot. So that's where I liked having this on. I go back and forth with it a lot though. Sometimes I'll turn it off if it gets annoying, and a lot of people do think it's annoying. So for right now I have it on, but guys, for my preferred item slots, the only one I have is for a shotgun. And I carry my shotgun right in the bottom left. So guys, if I had a full loadout in here, immediately would pick it up and it would go right to this front slot, because what I do, say this blue pump was a sub, I switch here and I switch to the left. That's so that I think that switching left with your shotgun is the most important thing. Here's the reason why, guys. So if you're sitting here with your controller, right? You're sitting here like this. all you have to do is go boom, 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 right? If I have another gun, right? Say this blue pump is my sub. All I have to do is 1, 2, 3. Instead of 1, 2, 3. You go 1, 2, 3. Okay? I'm gonna say this now. There's a quote. I got it from Colazzo actually, so shout out Colazzo. It says, ideally, sequential press should be on different hands. Second best is same hand. Worst is same finger. So optimize that using the hierarchy for the hardest mechanics in the game. And guys, that's not even one of the hardest mechanics in the game, but it just makes sense, right? I'm shooting here. I'm doing 2 different things, right? I'm using 2 different fingers and 2 different hands, right? So that's ideal. If you're sequential pressing, you should be using 2 different hands, because what you don't want to end up doing is having to do this with the same hand, same finger, right? That's why I like switching left with my shotgun. When I go shotgun to sub, I go shotgun, boom, switch to sub. So getting back into that, I do not have my auto sort consumables to the right, obviously, because I was saying I usually put my secondary on the far right, my shotgun on the far left. For building, I have all of these on. Reset building choice, disable pre-edit option. I don't like pre-edits. I really don't. Pre-edits are cool and they're nice to do, you know, certain plays. My duo has pre-edits on, so when we do those plays, we do with him. But I really don't like having them on. Sometimes you have a ping spike or you're in late game, you just can't afford, especially on controller. It's tough to reset those pre-edits and it's tough to put those pre-edits in quickly. So I personally just, you know, I like to avoid that little mess up. Turbo building, you're crazy if you don't got it on. Confirm edit on release, I do use on. I like that personally. Again, it's a preference thing. Contextual tips are now being turned off. Boom, boom, boom. Turbo delete. Blah, blah, blah. All right, next. Got my reticle. Boom, boom, boom. Guys, I actually like the damage numbers cumulative. It makes my callouts way more exact. So, you know, back when you said, I hit him 33 3 times, you might not have. You might have hit him in the head twice for 33 and that last one wasn't. I think just the cumulative numbers is a really good call out for your teammates. So I think the cumulative was a great part. Other than that, I got my head scale on 77. It's nice to have a smaller HUD, guys. Kind of get stuff out of the way. Kind of shoves up the map a little bit, shoves down the, you know, your loadout and your health. So I like having a smaller HUD. Other than that, got everything else on. All right, guys, so the nitty gritty, here we go. So I have my edit hold time all the way down so I can just quickly press it. My slide hold time, I like what it comes on, the 0.15 where it comes through, how they put it in the game. So I haven't touched that. And vibration I have on. So hear me out though. I know people are gonna say I'm crazy for using vibration, but the reason I use vibration is because the vibration of my current controller, like I said, make sure these work for you. Not all these are gonna work for you, but I like the vibration because the vibration of my controller is so subtle sometimes that you can't even feel it. So the times that I do like feeling it just for the reassurance of when I place a build behind me, or if I spin and quickly place something, it's kind of like a reassurance, like, oh, that did place behind me. Next, we got my build mode sensitivity. I have it on a ×2 multiplier. Edit mode sensitivity multiplier, I have it 1.8. I got a little bit lower, just so that, you know, when I'm editing and stuff like that, it's a little bit easier for me to get my HUD back to the center, right? So when I was doing those tunnels earlier, guys, right? And I'm going here. See how I'm able to keep my HUD in the middle like that every time? That's something that us controller players need to think about, right? When we play on a high sense, and I did it for so long. Guys, I felt like when I was playing on a high sense, I was out of control. I didn't feel out of control, but when people would watch me play, I'd realize I looked out of control. What I realized was that even if you don't feel like you're out of control, but everything's whipping around and it looks sporadic and you're moving quickly, sometimes you actually might be. And it's not that you can't control it well, but it's that you could be controlling it so much smoother and so much better. So it took me a while to realize that. You know, I watched a lot of pros play on control and I realized they all had very low senses. So when I went into my senses and I realized that I was playing on a sense, I used to be here. I used to be here with a boost. And this 49 for some people is still even high. I think for me right now, this is the best sense I could be using. I might lower it in the future, but I'm definitely not going to up it. And it's really important, guys, when you're running like this, being able to track, being able to look over your head and do this smooth motion is really important, because you don't want to be here, you know, like whipping around, right? Because the difference between controller and keyboard mouse is something that we need to acknowledge, right? I used to style my gameplay after, you know, DFISH'S and Booga and Clicks, right? But they play keyboard mouse and I play controller. So I realized if I want to play to the best of my ability and compete at the highest level, I knew that I needed to watch more players like Colazo, like Scoped, who didn't play Claw, but they played controller. Because Claw is a different animal, but watching controller players play on a lower sounds and understanding that really is what's going to take you to another level and just make you a better player. You're going to be hitting more shots. You're going to be hitting more edits. You're not going to be messing up. You're not going to be running at that wall, quickly whipping one, missing it, and then quickly whipping again and getting through, right? Like that's keyboard mouse, right? That's not what controller is. And if we can just take what controller is and not try to make it something it's not, you could be really, really good on controller. But when you start trying to, do all these insane cranks, benchy fishy, and like I was saying, clicks, and all those guys are doing, some of them just aren't realistic on controller. I'm not saying they can't be done. I'm just saying they take way more effort and they require your settings to be a little bit higher that are going to hinder the rest of your game. So I guess what I'm trying to say is style your game after, controller players who play on the settings or play like you, right? Who don't play claw, who play with paddles, who play the same style of gameplay as you. And that happened to me. That was the moment I realized I was playing the whole game wrong. And I got so much better in those 6 months when I lowered my sense. Guys, boosts, turn them off. I have my boost ramp time off. I play on linear and my ADS is all the same, and I do have ADS ramp boost time. Personally, I have no look dampening time. I don't like it. I want it to be direct. Look dampening, guys, I'll read the definition for you. The time it takes to reach the expected look rotation speed after applying initial input to the controller's right stick. This allows for small view adjustments by tapping the stick. Set to 0, to disable the dampening. Right, guys? So, see how I can do this? And it's consistent every time. If I didn't, it would be like this, and then it'd speed up, and speed up, and speed up, and speed up, right? I'm controlling that here, but if you had dampening time on, that's what it would do. Basically, it would be like a ramp, right? So I don't like that. I don't think you should play with it, but some people put it on really low. Next, music. I have it all the way down. I think the music's great, but I turn it so far down. Voice chat's low. I have my sound effects all the way up. Cinematics, I have whatever. Sound quality, I think you should have it on high. The audio in this game is crazy and it's almost irrelevant, but you should still have it on high. This, man, this has changed the game. Visual sound effects. If you don't have it on, you are at a severe advantage. I can hear you putting a medkit on from like 30 meters away. I should not be able to ever hear you putting a medkit on unless you're in my box or a box away. So you got to use this. It is a absolute game changer and you're at a disadvantage because everyone else has it on. Okay, I'm going to pop up my binds here so you can look at them, but I'm not going to go through each one, but I'm going to explain to you why I have what I have on my paddles. Boom, here, combat controls, build controls, edit controls, ability controls, dead zone. But you guys can see a common theme in here. I don't have anything bound on my left stick, and that's something I'm working on right now, but honestly, I kind of have a workaround. I actually am using a foot pedal right now for augments. So I have a foot pedal, and it's bound in here to augment, just because they haven't given us enough buttons for how many controls we have. You guys see here, I don't even have emote bound. And by the way, B is switch mode. B is switch mode. It's always buggy in here. I use foot pedal for streaming to kind of switch scenes and stuff like that. But I had an extra one open and I figured I don't use augment that much anyway. You use it 5 times a game. So I put it on my foot pedal right now. You just bind it to any key on your keyboard and then you're good to go. All right, guys. So what's on my paddles? So guys, what I use, I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. And they're buttons. See how they're buttons? So I hold my controller like this, okay? I personally like that, right? I like that better. All right, guys, because this is what I have on my paddles. Bottom left paddle, jump. Top left paddle, edit. Top right paddle, reset. Bottom right paddle, ready for this? Tack sprint, hear me out. I've recently put it back on this paddle just because I feel like my movement right now, tack sprint is such a big part of the game. I personally like having it on my paddle because I can click that and jump relatively at the same time and still shoot. A lot of these times, guys, I'm sitting here with my tack sprint, jumping, and going like that, it really helps my side jumps, and it gives me a bigger boost on my side jumps when I'm tack sprinting. Side jumps have always been a part of my game. I take side jumps a lot. It's like the biggest part of my game. It's probably like my that's like my move. Derek knows, D-Train, he knows. I fight him a lot. I take a lot of side jumps, and having that tack sprint right here, just on my paddle, for some reason, feels so good, and I never have to take my fingers off any of these. I don't have to take this finger off, this finger off, this finger off, or this finger off. I can go like this and be tack sprinting and shoot at all times. I don't know. It's a movement bind. It's important to me. How I have it right now. Guys, like I said at the beginning of this video, man, you don't have to take everything from this. You don't even have to take half of it. Maybe you take one thing from it, right? Maybe you take the, oh, maybe I'll try putting my tack sprint on a paddle. Or, oh, maybe I'll try putting my jump on a paddle. Jump's a super important bind to be putting on a paddle. Because, like I said, with that tack sprint, how I never had to take my fingers off any of those, the shoot, the ADS, your two directionals, your two joysticks. If you're able to jump and not take your finger off of any of those, that is one of the most important things in all of video games. It's important in Call of Duty. It's important in just about every video game you're going to play. Being able to jump around a corner and not have to go crazy with your fingers. It's so important being have them put jump on your paddle. So edit on a paddle, I think, is super important too. Some people put it on the right, on the left stick or the right stick. That's fine. I have my crouch on my right stick, and like I said, I don't have anything on my left stick. All right, guys, so that's gonna kind of wrap this video up. And listen, you don't have to take everything I say and apply it to your game. You don't have to change all of your settings, and all of a sudden you're gonna be just as good as me, or you're gonna be just as good as Colazo, or just as good as anyone, right? You can be the best player you can be by grinding these edit courses, grinding arena, grinding your mechanics, right? That's what's gonna make you better. But these settings are all quality of life and personal preference, honestly. Some of them are a necessity in my opinion, but a lot of them are just what feels good to you. Like I said, that tack sprint, a lot of people are probably gonna think I'm crazy for having it on a paddle. And I might think I'm crazy in a month and I switch it back. All you gotta do is open that settings tab and switch it up. But even if you guys take one thing from this video, I'm happy I made it. Thank you guys so much for the love. Peace and love, Fish fam. Drop a like, drop a sub down below, leave a comment if you guys wanna see more videos like this. And I'll see y'all later. Deuces.